Okay, so we're here to install the Microsoft SQL Server container on our desktop. Um, the reason to use a Docker container is to basically make sure that I can develop here and move it over. Um, so let's navigate to the repo where you found this, or if you're in one of the student that I'm sending this to, then well, you know where it's at. So if this is the repo, by the time you're watching this video, it might have changed since this is a continuing work. Navigate to instructions, which is basically the resource file, and we can see some of the instructions. I haven't actually added to it, and this Elon Musk video will actually not be there anymore. I'll probably replace it with one of this video or the one that I do for the Windows. I don't have a Linux machine, so I haven't done that one yet, but I can get a container with Linux on it. So we will go, because this is a Mac, I have not written all the instructions, but the beginnings are really similar. So we first install Docker. I already have Docker installed, but if you were to not have it, you would go to that link, click here, download Docker Hub, and click Docker. And then in a few minutes, you will have the Docker engine running on your Mac. Oh, excuse me. So after installing, we'll make sure it's running. You can do that by clicking on the engine and on the whale. If you cannot find this icon here, just search for Docker and this should pop up. And I already have it running on here. So we can pull up, you could sign in if you have an account. If not, you can create one. We can pull up the dashboard. The dashboard provides a good little UI. I've already built this in the past. Truth is, the first video I recorded I didn't capture the sound, so I was 10 minutes of just moving a mouse around. It was quite embarrassing to myself and I. So if you are having issues with this, we might need to first move your CPU up, and same with memory and your swap. This doesn't tend to happen, but if the following steps you run into obstacles, this could be a source of problems, and it will tell you. Like all computers, they tell you when things are wrong. So let's minimize that, and I'll open it up anyways just to have it. So I don't think I actually cloned the repo on here yet, so I'm going to go ahead and clone it. That should have been the first step. I cloned it earlier and then I deleted it. So repo's cloned. So where am I? Oh, I guess it is. Let's just restart from scratch. Let's make sure we go to my desktop, and then so git. This is with the assumption that you are running some kind of version control like git. If not, you could just download as a zip and extract it. So we have that. Let's go to, because our instructions are in the starter file, I will go ahead and just go to it as quick as possible. And here we are. So basically, I'm making this video by just going through the instructions, taking it from the reference points of someone who hasn't done this before. And if I can do that, then my repo can be understood, and you can go on your ways with running this sample database on your own local machine. So let's navigate to the directory. My apologies for that. So once we're there, we go to lessons. and intro. Why is my Windows so much better? And starter file. Okay. And so now that we're here, we got these 3 files. The database that Microsoft provides, this SQL script, which will be moved over to the container and run, basically, it will basically move this database over to it. This is great for basically if you're just trying to follow this to learn SQL. If you really want to understand, maybe add your own database into it, you would probably want to do this using the UI bulk inserter, which we will cover later on, or of some sort of basically making a connection string to your SQL server and writing data into it using runtime language like C# or Python or Java. And so now that we're here, I don't want to type it on the terminal because I actually want to make sure that all my stuff works. And this is how you should follow it. You would follow this step here. Now that we're here, you will build, and this should take some time. On your computer, if this is the first time, it will take more time than this because it has to check for all the images. I actually already have everything. Yeah, let's just, so you guys see it. System prune.a. Yeah, so this will delete all the images that I have. Cool, so I should not have any images. Cool. So this is what it will really look like when you do it for your very first time. So as that's going, we'll continue. So I'll go ahead and copy this. So docker run. So it's docker build-t docker file. So this is how you build the file. You build the image off of your Docker file. Don't worry too much about it. Basically, think of your Docker file as a set of instructions. It's like a blueprint to build a virtualized like server kind of, except the server is actually the container. Since this video in particular is meant for beginners in Microsoft, particularly SQL Server, not Docker, I would love to make a Docker settings, Docker ones next. I won't go too deep into it, but just think about it as you're running this server with this database, and all this is transferable amongst different computers. That's the power of it. All you have to make sure you have is a Docker engine installed, and this is what makes this easier. So in the future, I hope to make a mini course on Docker. So now that this is going, looks like everything's going well. So now if we do Docker images, you should see some images going on. So let's go ahead and do step number 2, which is putting in this into here. So what that did is basically it builds a container on the Docker image. It exposes these ports that our client-side application will connect to SQL Server. The -d stands for the daemon. It'll run in the background, and it's specifying the image, which image to look for. I called it Docker file for simplicity, but you could virtually call it anything you want. To know if everything's going well, you look at your dashboard and you'll see some random name and the port that's exposed. So now that everything's going well, here we open up our application. If you do not see it on here, just again search for Azure Data Studio, or click on this link below and follow the instructions. So let's pull it up. I have not on this Git repo put the instructions. I probably won't. By the time you see this video, I will actually just reference to this because it's the same exact instructions. But we'll go to new connection. Your server is going to be localhost and the port that you exposed. Your username is SA. Your password for this purposes is password 2020 exclamation point. Please never use this password in a production setting or with sensitive data. If you do that and it goes bad, that's not my fault. So now we can see the database. So this is actually really cool. It automatically kind of senses that, I guess it's somehow in the back end it sends like a message to the server, which is in a container, that it's made to make sure that there's like some kind of ping message back and forth. It's really cool that it already lets me know it works before actually clicking the login. That's not the case with SQL Server Management Studio. I don't really know what the server group is, and the name, optional, so let's connect. And this looks promising. Looks like we're here. This is pretty much like Visual Studio Code. I mean, it's definitely written on Electron. Very similar. I have a Windows computer, and I generally use that for SQL Server as well. But this might be a new alternative to use. Definitely like to install the is there a dark mode? Super off topic, right? But it's a must. That one's not that pretty. Where is it? How did I get to it? Preferences, color theme. Let's do this one. Oh, that's Visual Studio. But we're gonna be cool, right? We're gonna do. See tomorrow night. Oh yeah, that's like my Visual Studio code. Off topic, ADD here. So let's just make sure by running a simple query that we're doing it. So use the database that we want to use is AdventureWorks. Select top 10, start from. Does it give us a little like table, doesn't it? Oh, okay, so let's see. It gives us, so there's a schema. So schema is sales. That's good. Sales LT dot address. It's weird that it's actually interesting that it's not filling it in for me automatically, but I think it's because I have to tell it which database to use. Adventure. See, it's weird that that's not filling in either. AdventureWorks. So let's run that. Uh-oh. That's weird. So everything's running. Oh, so I did not type the password right. Okay. Make sure you do that. Alrighty, so wow, there you go. So it works. So let's just double check. So yeah, it does have IntelliSense. That's what I figured. Select top 100 from. Let's do, what's another one? Sales. Let's do product. Where? Oh, I don't know any of the fields. So is there a shortcut? Nope. So the F5. Here, let's say where color. Let's give it an alias as P. Where P dot. We'll select all. And then this is optional, not required, right to go. So and look at that. So that's SQL Server for you running in a Docker container on Mac. So very cool. I hope this is helpful, and stay tuned for more installs and more videos. The next videos of this will probably be more aligned with actually writing SQL, and we'll get into some of the logic and moving on, specifically Microsoft SQL or T-SQL. So thank you.